Proverbs 28, let's go. The wicked run away when no one is chasing them, but the godly are as bold as lions. When there is moral rot within a nation, its government topples easily, but wise and knowledgeable leaders bring stability. A poor person who oppresses the poor is like a pounding rain that destroys the crops. To reject the law is to praise the wicked. To obey the law is to fight them. Evil people don't understand justice, but those who follow the Lord understand completely. Better to be poor and honest than to be dishonest and rich. Young people who obey the law are wise. Those with wild friends bring shame to their parents. Income from charging high interest rates will end up in the pocket of someone who is kind to the poor. God detests the prayers of a person who ignores the law. Those who lead good people along an evil path will fall into their own trap. But the honest will inherit good things. Rich people may think they are wise, but a poor person with discernment can see right through them. When the godly succeed, everyone is glad. When the wicked take charge, people go into hiding. People who conceal their sins will not prosper, but if they confess and turn from them, they will receive mercy. Blessed are those who fear to do wrong, but the stubborn are headed for serious trouble. A wicked ruler is as dangerous to the poor as a roaring lion or an attacking bear. A ruler with no understanding will oppress his people, but one who hates corruption will have a long life. A murderer's tormented conscience will drive him into the grave. Don't protect him. The blameless will be rescued from harm, but the crooked will be suddenly destroyed. A hard worker has plenty of food, but a person who chases fantasies ends up in poverty. The trustworthy person will get a rich reward, but a person who wants quick riches will get into trouble. Showing partiality is never good, yet some will do wrong for a mere piece of bread. Greedy people try to get rich quick, but don't realize they're heading for poverty. In the end, people appreciate honest criticism far more than flattery. Anyone who steals from his father and mother and says, "What's wrong with that?" is no better than a murderer. Greed causes fighting. Trusting the Lord leads to prosperity. Those who trust their own insight are foolish, but anyone who walks in wisdom is safe. Whoever gives to the poor will lack nothing, but those who close their eyes to poverty will be cursed. When the wicked take charge, people go into hiding. When the wicked meet disaster, the godly flourish. Verse 1 says, "The wicked run away when no one is chasing them, but the godly are as bold as lions." Of course, because the wicked are only answering to themselves. They can decide when they do things and when they don't. And yet, the godly are answering to a higher power. The godly have integrity because they know that God is always watching them. And therefore, since they know that God has their back as well, He is our King, and therefore He will protect us in the time of need. That's why we're bold as lions. We dare because we know that a higher power is there for us. Verse 3 says, "A poor person who oppresses the poor is like a pounding rain that destroys the crops." So, pretty much, isn't that like ironic almost? That a poor person would oppress another poor person when they're supposed to understand each other more than anyone else. It's like a rain that destroys crops because how crazy is that rain would destroy a crop when it's supposed to be exactly what is feeding it to grow? Verse 6 says, better to be poor and honest than to be dishonest and rich. And that's completely true, because that's only in this life that you'll ever be poor if you decide to be honest. Most of the times, honesty will get you um, wisdom, and therefore you'll be able to put your hands on riches. But even if you're one of the more laid back believers and you just want to be honest and live a humble life, that's fine. Because we're really working towards the next life. When we leave this fleshy body and are dressed in the one that's made by his hands. So it's definitely better to be honest than dishonest and rich. Because we'll only be rich in this life anyways. No. Verse 9. God detests the prayers of a person who ignores the law. I mean, even as a parent, not that I'm a parent, but I can only assume that parents are telling their kids what to do, right? And then the indignity that they must feel that when that same child that's ignoring their words of wisdom, their advice, the rules that they set in the house, that child is ignoring them completely, and then comes around, hey, buy me a car, or hey, help me out with everything in life. 11. Rich people may think they are wise, but a poor person with discernment can see right through them. Again, we are working towards an eternity. We are like, what is 80 years here on earth versus an eternity? We are all eternal. The question that we're trying to answer is where we're going to spend eternity. We're working towards building energy up for a life either in the presence or the absence of God. So what do material things count for towards that end? Pretty much nothing. Yeah, they help you help other people if that's what you choose to use it for. And I hope that you do choose to use it for that when you gain riches, to help people out. But if you're rich and you're just accumulating that wealth or just using it for yourself, for your own gain, then what life will you have in eternity? And that pretty much also explains verse 14, that blessed are those who fear to do wrong, but the stubborn are headed for serious trouble. Verse 17 is like really harsh. I hope I can understand it. So this is how it says and what I think about it. Verse 17, a murderer's tormented conscience will drive him into the grave. Don't protect him. The only wisdom I can see from that is that for a person to truly repent, they must have remorse. They must feel how wrong it is to do whatever they're doing. And if you protect them from feeling that, they'll have no change ever. And by not protecting them from feeling the remorse, you're protecting their eternal soul. You are allowing the possibility of them to repent, change, and gain favor by God, and therefore helping them out in eternity. So it's not about looking for their punishment, but rather not catering to their self-pity, if it comes to that. Now, verse 21 is interesting. Showing partiality is never good. Yet some will do wrong for a mere piece of bread. And like that to me is saying literally that showing partiality is no good. So if a person is robbing because they like to rob versus a person that's robbing to feed their family, like you shouldn't show partiality between that. But since the second line of that verse is saying, yes, some will do wrong for a mere piece of bread, it's like there are people that poor that need to steal to get food. So I leave you with the question. Verse 23. In the end, people appreciate honest criticism far more than flattery. Um, Understanding a little bit more, or at least having read the Proverbs, I can definitely understand why now flattery tends to set people up for a fall, right? Like we get flattered, we get a big head, and then our next step is some sort of arrogant comment that kind of gets like, oh my god, kind of looks, and it's kind of a trap, right? Uh, but then again, the other side of that is that when you're criticized, especially by people that love you and have been there for you, it makes you think, it makes you evaluate your life, your actions, and that makes you grow, that helps you get stronger. So, in the end, whenever I'm criticized, I appreciate it. So, I'd like to finish off with verse 26. Those who trust their own insight are foolish, but anyone who walks in wisdom is safe. So, please remind yourself that you don't know it all, that you really should seek in other people's understanding, gain perspective by listening to others, search for yourself, read the good word, let Jesus be your guide, and have a blessed day.